Okay, so I was thinking, I'm not sure if these people got the holistic picture. So what do you people think was the main message of that afternoon? Because you say it was very impactful. What is it the whole thing in general?
I think first the atmosphere,
Are
the
you
change
cold?
of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
You are colder.
Yeah.
So it's changing the atmosphere?
Yeah, I think the entire feeling and the setting changed because of how you arranged the seats. And I know you did it very, very consciously, but I think people did not realize how attentive they were afterwards. And we were even talking about this before. We were sitting in the back and thinking, look at these young people. You see that 90%. Yes, 90%
before
were
you
not
came, we were talking about how
inattentive they were, and
Yeah.
people were like talking or
they're
looking at
just
their
like
phones,
zombies.
and yeah. And then they were said, "Oh yeah, tell welcome to your neighbor." Everyone was like, "Welcome."
And then she said, "Welcome to your neighbors," and I said, "Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it."
What was happening? Because I went out. I was
Yeah,
listening to
exactly.
a few minutes and
Yeah, they
I got enough.
Yeah, they were saying, say this to your neighbor. Said, I don't like this.
Apart from that, what was happening? You were there for 1 hour. I don't say they say this to your neighbor for 1 hour. Why is that you take repeating only that one?
Okay, because
what was the whole picture before that?
The whole picture is, it seems like they're trying to motivate the people with stories that were disjointed. The person that was talking, the story just don't fit. So I switched off. I stopped listening. Yes, so I just switched off.
What about the atmosphere? People were walking up and down.
A few people were, the organizers were the one walking up and down, but what I observed was people just kind of like, okay, you know, like.
And as if they brought them there.
Yeah.
They're just sitting down.
They're just sitting down. Like, why are we punishing ourselves doing this? You know, why?
They're used to going to church.
Yeah. So I switched off and
so
I
what
was
is it? How will you describe it?
I had to think about my own church, and then I saw myself sitting there because I had to, because I.
So a lot of people are just doing that in churches.
Yeah, you have to. You have to go to church and whatever the person is saying, you just have to listen and to, respond when they tell you to respond. Hallelujah, you say hallelujah. And it's like, you don't think, you don't think. And I was looking at the people and I was like, wow, I used to be exactly like that, And it was so shocking to me. And nobody was questioning anything, and people were looking at you, who's sitting there, oh, new people are coming, oh, here, oh, you're just so distracted by every single tiny thing. But then when you came, and I was at the back, and I was recording as well, and I looked, nobody paid attention to me, because everyone was focused.
It's like
and before when we arrived, you could see people were turning and they were looking, oh, who's there? And then when you were talking, everyone was like, and I thought, wow, what an atmosphere. And it's not even like they were talking and you were asking them questions to respond and you were having a conversation, but just because you were with them there, it changed the entire setting. And
that might be due to the authority of Pastor Sunday or something like that.
Yeah, but I was also thinking, because we have that issue in our church, whenever I come to visit, I'm asked to talk to the youth, because I'm told that they can relate to me because I'm younger, and then they will listen. But the person before you was also younger, and she was, you can say, like a young adult.
Yeah, but what was she talking?
She was talking about not be influenced by the negative people. That's what I call it.
She was trying to say about networking, that it's important. Networking for your future and everything. So this is the reason she asked to say that say hello to your neighbor, because she was trying to pass this teaching. This is very popular trend now to talk about networking. This is what she was talking about. She says
networking?
Yeah, she was talking about networking because it's popular trend. Everyone is coaches are teaching about networking. That you need to be.
Is there even cash it? She couldn't say what you were talking about. She couldn't even say what you were talking about.
All I heard was, oh yeah, if people are negative and you don't, and they're putting negative feelings to you, just go away, just go away.
She was saying what she's living through.
Exactly, like different.
Yes,
yeah.
I understood that because I watched online, and I understood that she's just sharing all what's in her mind now, everything that she's going through, and even networking is something that she was taught most probably by
one of the things.
Yes, but because now I think she's following some coaches like there are some trends they are following, and this topic is popular now, and she's living with this, and she passed this to audience. Everything messy because it's just like it's in the head. But it was difficult to watch even online. And
yeah,
now,
exactly.
Now, what changed when you came? When you came in, I couldn't turn off because I wanted to know what's next, what's going to be like. It's unpredictable, everything, and that's why you cannot go off because it's unpredictable. It's not because of the authority. It's not because of the authority.
The way you talked, because you were talking to people directly, and the person before you was, telling stories and what exactly like what just
the atmosphere.
Yeah, and you were looking at people's eyes, and you were communicating, but in a very, how can I say, not just authoritative way, but direct way. You were focusing on the person. It was very personal.
With authority.
Yeah. And so people felt like, oh, he's talking to me, so I have to respond, and not just just painting a picture. And yeah,
I think for me, two things stood out. The first was the fact that I got into that place and I never saw anything wrong. Like that means I had also followed the structured thinking, because I never, perhaps if I'd been asked to talk, I would have also,
just keep on doing the same thing.
But like there was something you wanted to achieve, and you didn't allow whatever thing has been put in place to disturb that. You went ahead to put in your own structure to make things work. So that for me stood out. That would I have gone into, let's say for example, any place that I know that this is not what I want to achieve, would I have got that courage to, so that stood out for me.
The moral courage.
The moral courage, and the fact that I also didn't have enough perspective to know that this isn't working, because obviously it wasn't working. So like I got that so strongly, and I think that for me really stood out.
You said two things.
In fact, I also when you talked about the clothing thing, I never also thought about that. It never crossed my mind that way before.
It didn't cross your mind?
It didn't cross my mind before. And that was like a big deal for me to like, so how come I didn't? Because it's quite obvious, this is color, this is, So I thought there is something I need to understand. I need to perhaps, this is about understanding, and how do I enlarge my understanding to be able to see things, to be able to get that perspective. Then the second thing also was the fact that, and I think myself and Mama Shironke were talking about that this month, because she was asking me that immediately, like, what happened?
That's one of the questions I want to ask too.
That when the chairs put back in place, and there was a coffee break, and after which, like, the chairs were rearranged.
Went back to the normal place.
And she was saying that is perhaps one of the.
I was going to comment on that.
You noticed?
Because I spoke after it was put back to normal.
They put back to normal?
Yeah, I spoke after it was put back to normal. And,
so they actually took the time to rearrange it again?
I mean,
or it was by accident?
It's not accident. Somebody came up and asked that, so if you can help us put things. And I was looking at her, but then
one of the speakers,
I spoke immediately after it was put back together.
Was it the speaker who said we should put
I think one of the anchors.
I think.
Yeah, she's an anchor of the. of the day.
Maybe she was not there during the meeting.
She was there.
She was there.
She was there, and that I was a bit perturbed by that, and that is why when I came, I had to sing, because I understand that if I did the same thing twice because it has been done, then that creates. I was not planning to sing before because they had said it's a conference, but I was going to do something even unique, and I was standing, so I decided to sing. And I realized that everybody that was there had a song in there. They were willing to sing, but everybody has been confined to believe that they have come in a conference.
And they cannot speak.
They could not sing. They could not sing. Now they send me a message. Oh, your vocal prowess, your what have you.
But you were not supposed to do it.
I was not supposed to.
But you had to do it to change the atmosphere. So what about Mr. and Mrs. Cherry? Anyway, somebody was saying something.
Yeah. So we were discussing about that it's like a run of lesson for young people. You know, they absorb wisdom. They didn't capture it. And she was saying that sometimes wisdom comes once in a lifetime, that many people may not get the opportunity to have that wisdom again. And some people might have missed it for life that way. There are a lot of times when we come in contact with wisdom, we go back and restructure our lives the way that always been. So nothing eventually happens and there's no change. Because there was a lot of impact with what Pastor did. We all could see that, you know, he was able to touch the people, walk across within the people, you know, look people in the eye, tell you to stand up, you know, that was communication. That it wasn't just somebody standing and saying his own things, but like communicating. Yeah, this your shirt, your color, you know, those things were very, very impactful. So the fact that we went back to what we were used to was a big concern.
Yes. It would have been great to digest it.
Yeah.
To get the time to digest, to discuss, and to really ponder.
I wouldn't even have. It would have been a great blessing for me if we used maybe about 30 minutes or thereabout to analyze what just happened.
Yes.
Young people talk about what you just heard, what just happened.
After I finished.
Yes, to analyze it.
You could have suggested that to them.
Wow.
He was not one of
No, I wasn't one of the organizers. There was little I could do to tamper with it. So
it was their own program.
So when we do it so much, and it's the same thing with schooling system, with everything, when things are so structured that way, it's not effective. But then the courage to, you know,
limit creativity.
Yes, it limits creativity, it knocks out creativity, and nothing gets done. Everybody just.
What do you think could have been discussed, though, even if you addressed that?
So what would have been this? Personally, if I was in charge, I would have asked the people to analyze, even if it would you want the chairs this way. I wouldn't at that point tell them to go back to. I would have asked, what do you gain? What is the benefit? Look at the sitting arrangement now. Look at what it was before. Let's think about it. Let's compare. You know, those kind of things. But just everybody arranged the chair, and we just all arranged the chair again and went back. Just default. We just went back to default. Nobody asked questions. Nobody.
So another message just came.
Yeah, and
another speaker. Just give up going.
I understand. We missed out. Maybe they saw that.
Is it that way you understand?
So at that point, I think the line of the conference had been shifted, and we should have just
build on that.
No, do you understand now why I said I cannot be going to speak in conferences anymore? I can't, because it's a waste of time. No matter what you bring, they have 2, 3, 4, 5 other speakers. Maybe that same day they have 2 speakers or 3. Next day they have 2 or 3. The other day they have 1 or 2. So you've just poured your water to the street. So like there now, these just were 1 day speaker. Can you imagine a conference? Can you imagine if that been a week-long conference or 3 days conference? There's nothing you do that will make people don't change. People are coming there to get themselves entertained. People are coming there to just make their church grow. People are coming there just to, say they have big name. It's just about, it's It's not, we are not pursuing the same goals.
That's why they could not pick the wisdom. Okay. So they just thought you needed to do that to deliver what.
For them, as far as they are concerned, not just they, just conference mentality. If we were, they want to do the same thing, but it's just, they are just right there in the conference. Their most important concern was the schedule. If this person has spoken, the next person has to speak, then the next person has to speak. So even if God comes and shows up, you cannot, because you are thinking, oh, we invited this other person is coming, this person has to come, you have to shut God out there always. That's why I would rather organize something like this, like an Asian tea, where people are not running anywhere, they are not in a hurry, you know, they know they came for this, and they will not be distracted going to visit or going to a call or visit. You know, they will just sit down there for a week, and you know, they know that even all the speakers are speaking about the same thing. That's what is worth it. Not the, you know, who gets the most applause or gets the most shout.
Did you notice that they could not give Pastor Sunday? They must have told Pastor Sunday time to finish.
Yes.
But do you notice that they could not give him time to round up?
Yes.
Now, that is not because of respect, like I shared in the 5 level
Yes.
of that is because of the value he was adding was so much. And then I was watching because they told me 20 minutes. Before I came, they told me 40 minutes. They told me 20 minutes. And then I realized that nobody is telling me to stop. But like Pastor Sunday, I had to eventually stop. But I went back home and I realized that I spent an hour. Again,
No, I only spent 15 minutes.
I think so. I spent almost an hour. So I was wondering, how did my 20 minutes become
1 hour.
1 hour? Because I told them to tell
You
me.
arrested them.
Yeah, exactly.
By your presence and by your anointing and by your caption.
I didn't even finish my note, but I realized that everybody was already, I think you were there. Who else was it?
I was there.
Yeah. It seems everybody at this point now, including the lady who was giving the time, she was stuck, she was carried away. She was carried away, but at that point, just like Pastor Sunday did, I realized a point of climax where everybody wants more. That was the time I said I have to go.
So after the conference, a lot of people were coming to.
So many people now want to see me.
Yes.
And then I've learned one thing. In most cases, like Pastor Sunday, immediately he finished, boom, you're off. Because people who say they want to see you, I'm not really sure they really want to see you. You know, taxi was waiting for me. This person wanted to see, and I gave specific instruction. Some people want my number. I said, no, write me on Facebook first. Because if you cannot do simple tasks, you do not qualify to waste my closest time. You understand? Write me first. Tell me who you are. It's not everybody that qualifies into your closest circle of. If giving your phone number is like giving your room key to somebody. In fact, it's beyond your room. It means no matter where you are, that person have access to you. So now, whoever cannot carry out simple instruction does not even qualify to come near your gate, let alone into your house.
Is that the reason why you always leave immediately?
No, this time I left immediately because I wanted to.
The program.
Because of the program. But, you know, I don't like to leave immediately. Really. I would rather like to wait and fellowship with people and answer people. But I started leaving immediately because I discovered that I want to hang around and talk about constructive things. But people want to hang around to just, you know, do whatever they want to do. We are not in the same plan. They just, you know, they just want to do their own thing. But that thing you people say you never talked about, coming in and rearranging the share. You know, I have a book on that I'm not yet written. That, you know, I have a whole article that you know, that is supposed to be a book. You wouldn't say.
No.
Okay, I'm going to go show who can read. You can read very well.
It's
No,
on the
I've sent it
box.
to you.
Okay. My
I sent it to
Yahoo mail.
whatever email you have.
Oh.
Gmail, I think.
Oh, okay. What's the title?
No, I just emailed from me just now. I just sent it.
Okay.
But it might go to.
I think it's my Gmail.
Yeah, you don't have Gmail.
My Gmail account says it now, but my Yahoo
It's
mail
not
is
working.
available.
Okay.
Ymail.com.
It might not go to. It might go because I'm sending it from. It might be going to your whatever you call it, to your. If I send it now, it might go to. You have to check all your.
Okay.
No, I think I can only send it to Gmail.
Okay. Let me check.
You mean you send it by the newsletters?
No.
Or you just send to him?
I just sent to him.
Oh, okay.
Says like I'm
But I also sent it to Mayowa too, because she's not in the state now. She's busy. She's distracted.
Did you send it by Skype, sir, or email?
You know, you see the importance of being here in the now. We are talking email, she's talking Skype. Because she has not been here. She's been
Okay,
lost.
I've got it.
You see, that's it. She has it. I sent it to you.
Please send it to me too, sir.
What?
Eh? Maybe send it to him. Or you can send it to yourself if you want, Pastor. No, who could read it? Who can read? Give it to. Yeah. That's my future book. Oh. I'm not written yet, but that's just like the manuscript.
Can she send it?
To you too?
Yeah.
I tried to send it to you. I couldn't get your. Because you have some different.
What's
you are
your-
doing magic on me with your email.
What's your
You
email?
have different names.
But,
Your own email.
Because I put
okay.
my own.
Carey. The one I can see.
Sometimes you
Why?
use ayeye, sometimes
Wow.
you use
Caryglo. That's young.
Carey.
Glows. Caryglo.
If it has double
I
barreling
have
for you
it
here.
yet. Double barrel. The one man is enough.
It popped up.
It popped up as 2 emails.
Two different emails.
Two
That's what I'm
different
saying. You are playing games of me. Okay, really.
Article 32. What makes for a man by
Make you read.
Okay.
Like normal now. You know me already by now.
Article 32. What makes for a man by Pastor Sunday
So
Adelaja.
the reason that I'm opening this to you people for you to people to know is that I thought there is no need for a book like that now. So I'm writing other titles. But with what happened yesterday, I might have been wrong.
Yes, sir.
For the ability to be able to know that same message, the ability to be able to come to any environment and make it work for your purpose. I know you see what will happen here. Let's read this book. This article will blow your mind. Let's go.
What makes for a man by Pastor Sunday Adelaja. As I entered into the auditorium where about 40 people were waiting for me, I noticed something.
This was not yesterday. Oh. Just for you to know that, you know, this was written like 2 years ago.
2 years.
2014, was that 2 years ago?
3
3
years.
years ago.
Totally dismayed.
As I entered into the auditorium where about 40 people were waiting for me, I noticed something. Out of about 10 light bulbs, only 6 were lit. The other 4 were off.
It's a different scenario, but the same truth.
My question was, out of all these people here, does that mean that nobody noticed that all these bulbs were not on? Or was it a question of indifference? With the bulbs, I dealt with that very fast. I only had to walk to the light switch.
You see the similar one like yesterday now.
I only had to walk to the light switch and I switched on the remaining 4 bulbs, which resulted in a brighter room.
This one here, where we have the HFT. You know, you can put on just a few.
It resulted in a brighter room, a clearer view, and a generally warmer atmosphere.
You see the benefits immediately? Okay.
Barack Obama said, The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good
things. People are
things,
living their own lives like that.
Yes, sir.
Waiting for good things to come. They are hoping for good things to happen to them. They are hoping and waiting for it. That one day, I know one day, one day my breakthrough will come. One day, and I know, in the name of Jesus, one day God will do it. Hallelujah. You know, some kind of things like that. No, that's the way. They might not be saying it like that, really. But they will pray, they'll go to church and pray, they'll get blessings. But I just say, I know, something will happen. No, tomorrow.
They're expectant.
Yeah, hoping and expectant.
The wishes.
But that is not the way life is supposed to be lived. It's not the law of life to live like that. But churches, they cultivate that culture. And it's the wrong principle of life. It's an antidote. It's an anti. I have my next meeting. You know what we'll do? Let's quickly go and bring another. I will make her to sit here. She will be forced to sit because I read to read.
Okay.
And the Obama thing.
Yes, Barack Obama said, the best way to not feel hopeless is to get up.
The best way?
To not feel hopeless is to get up and do something.
Okay.
Don't wait for good things to happen to you.
Okay.
If you go out and make some good
So
things
just
happen.
this? Мамушка, давай сюда. Слушай, как тебя придется, я прошу прощения, просто вот встреча с утра, я думал, что я вырвусь, но пока не получается.
Мы подождем.
Подождем.
Да, мы пока подышим чуть-чуть, поспим, подождем.
Ну, ты не можешь здесь спать?
Да.
Ребенок спит, да?
Еще нет, но сейчас будет спать.
Да, но ты сядешь или ты провернешься?
Чуть-чуть. Да, я сейчас вернусь. Сейчас я 5 минут вернусь.
Ну, 5 минут, я не знаю, если я через 5 минут закончу. Но
Ну ничего.
ты можешь вернуться и посидеть там. Когда уснет, тогда ты можешь прийти. Пока я тогда смогу вырваться легче, чем когда тебя нету. She's a young mother. She just have a baby. So she's waiting for a baby to put a baby to. The husband is trying to put the baby to sleep because we have an appointment at 1. So she came to be with me. But now she will go and try to feed the baby to get to bed.
We also have an interview at 1.
Okay, so if the baby gets to sleep, then she will come out with the husband now. But she just have a small baby and they have been waiting. They came to live here to wait for me to be able to meet with them. Okay. But I'm just wanting to also spend, at least also get into this article before I go.
The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen,
I need to open something too.
If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope. You will fill yourself with hope. Barack Obama. When we decide to step out to overcome indifference.
Are you sure that's the best place to sit? I think if the voice is too big.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we need to sit maybe there.
Sure.
Or here, maybe here.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, nice place.
When we decide to step out to overcome indifference, complacency, inertness, then things change around us. Progress comes to our communities. Transformation comes to our land. Growth
Go ahead, Henry.
Okay. Growth and advancement is witnessed by all. Just like we saw with the changes that happened in the auditorium after I switched on the remaining light bulbs. Brighter room, a clearer view, and generally warmer atmosphere. But the question remains, does it mean it never crossed the mind of any of the people in the hall to check it out, if the lights were on or not? As I walked to my seat,
Еду. Я же еду туда.
Сейчас или попозже?
Нет, сейчас.
Садитесь.
Сейчас за мной приедет машина. Ой.
А мы на английском.
Ну, я привыкла уже.
as I walked to my seat in front of the auditorium.
Please go back to the last part that we are messing up.
All right, sir.
Что такое?
That's not you.
I start from the Barack Obama quote.
Yes.
Barack Obama said, the best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope. You will fill yourself with hope. When we decide to step out to overcome indifference, complacency, inertness, then things change around us.
That's why Africa is the way it is. That's why Nigeria is the way it is. People and everybody is waiting for the government. In fact, most people are waiting for God.
Yes.
So we are supposed to build a system. When I get back there, this is one of my strategies. Just build a system whereby everybody is mobilized to move and to act. So the whole country will be geared up, will be raised up to do something about everything that is wrong, rather than waiting on God or waiting on government. Okay, please go ahead.
Right. Progress comes to our communities, transformation comes to our land, growth and advancement is witnessed by all. Just like we saw with the changes that happened in the auditorium after I switched on the remaining light bulbs. Brighter room, a clearer view, and a general warmer atmosphere. But the question remains, does it mean it never crossed the mind of any of the people in the hall to check it out?
Now, the place I'm going to in this article is that the most important thing about this article is addressing, if you are superficial, you might think that I've already addressed the question. The problem is resolved. Light is put on. But it's not the problem of light that I'm talking about, though. You will see something very profound, much more profound than the illustration I started with. And that is what I was trying to get to yesterday. I was trying to let you all, that's why I asked you the question, do you get what is happening? But I understand that what you got and picked up is the fact that is some details. Okay, for example, when he answered, you know what he said? Two things stood out for me. You know what that statement means? He is just doing exactly what he has been taught to say. What do you mean stood out? You are not supposed to be looking for what stands out. You are supposed to make a holistic conclusion. Don't just remember what stands out. Because what stood out means you are again making the same mistake of just focusing on fragments. You don't get the general picture. And the people who were speaking yesterday, that's what I said the mistake they were making. Pastor Joseph and everybody. I said everybody was just talking about some fragments. And when he began to talk, he also said, what stood out? Two things stood out. But the answer I'm looking for is not what stood out. It's the underlying truth and purpose that I was trying to communicate. But you will get that better here now. You see, what stood out here is the light bulb that is put on and the changes that have come out. But that's not the message. But here, since I'm helping, it's a book, I'm digesting it, more. So you keep on reading.
As I walked to my seat in front of the auditorium, something else caught my attention. Like in any other auditorium, there are always 2 or 3 chairs that are empty.
Okay, you see, again, we're having a problem with chairs here. That one will stand out too.
Просто мне надо будет поговорить насчет Серикова и насчет газонов тут, хорошо? Нет, насчет Влада. Хорошо?
Он может со мной поговорить сегодня.
Я ему сказала, что ему надо сам обратиться.
А что там?
Он сидит, переехал в Санкт-Петербург. Говорит, мне пастор мне сказал, что он мне нуждается, что он хочет, чтобы я поехал к нему. И тут работал. Я говорю, оставила там работать. Переехал в 2 месяца уже. Пастор мне не звонит. Я говорю, да он уже не помнит, наверное.
Ну, я помню, просто у меня еще ситуация не выровнялась.
Но все равно пусть он сюда переедет, он в депрессии. Он чувствует себя ненужным, невостребованным. Наверное, это главное. И ему нужно $1500, чтобы сделать здесь эту, как это называется, вид на жительство.
Это не проблема.
Все, пастор, спасибо.
Please go ahead.
As I walked to my seat in front of the auditorium, something else caught my attention. Like in any other auditorium, there are always 2 or 3 chairs that are empty. But this time, these chairs were not orderly in any way. To further provoke my bewilderment, I saw there were several people around those chairs who nevertheless seemed not to have noticed the disorderliness of the arrangement.
It's a little bit different situation, scenario, but it's still a problem. You know, that one was classroom, but this one was disorganized. But you see the way I'm picking up different things, details.
Yes.
And I'm using those details, I'm converting them into life lessons. And not just to life lessons, but actually I'm relating them to life scenarios of how people live their lives. So it's not the problem of share, and it's not the problem of light bulbs. Okay, go ahead.
Here again arises the question, what does this tell me about people? What makes me to notice things that are in disorder while others seem to be oblivious of them? Why is it that I get concerned?
Now, say that again. That is a main key right there.
What makes me to notice things that are in disorder while others seem to be oblivious of them? Why is it that I get concerned about things that are out of order while some are just coolly indifferent? In Rand said, the hardest thing to explain is the glaringly evident which everybody has decided not to see. This type of occurrences, of course, happens to me on a regular basis. I'm just using this particular occasion for the sake of illustration. But everywhere I go, I seem to notice what almost no one else notices, leading me to a more frustrated state of mind about the difference in men. I assume you guess what happened next. Off goes my previously prepared message for the day, flying out the window. I just couldn't get myself to preach the already prepared message of the day. I needed to address the issue at hand.
That is familiar to you people
now.
So I turned the table around on my ready audience. My question to them was, how come none of you noticed those light bulbs that were off? My second question was, how about those 3 chairs roaming around the place? You mean you didn't notice them? Or why is it that nobody did anything about those things? The answers I got now form the basis for this my message. So you readers, you might need to be thanking God for that incident in that auditorium that day. If not
for the
for
lights that were not on and the chairs that were not arranged.
If not for it, I probably won't be writing this article to you today. The reasons given by my respected audience, which had kept on repeating itself from place to place, are indeed lessons in the studies of the nature of man.
You see, so that's where we're going for it now.
Number 1, some said they did not notice neither the lights, the bulbs that were not on, nor the chairs that were out of place.
Do you know there were people really that did not notice it?
Yes. Me.
You didn't notice?
Yes.
Did that all?
Yes.
And a large percentage didn't notice. But that was not the only answer. So what I'm trying to say is that this is a study in human nature. It's a kind of sociology and anthropology right there. And it reviews. So you see the way I will break it down. It's going to be an amazing book. And people will be discovering themselves like this. I say, it's true. Now maybe that, and that is me. Okay, he has identified himself already, ready-made. That is me. Okay, but there are still other categories of people who we all belong to. Okay, go ahead.
Number 2, others noticed both the light bulbs that were off and the chairs that were out of place. There are reasons for inaction.
Can you believe that people actually noticed? There will be people who noticed. But the things still remain the same.
They still go with the flow. They still go with the trend. They still agree.
But they saw things that were wrong.
Yeah, but they still agree that it shall remain like this.
But that is my country. What that thing you are talking about. There are some people there. When I was there, I didn't even know that anything was wrong. The only thing I knew that was bad was that the government was bad. That's what I heard people talk about. That the government didn't do what they need to do. But what is wrong or what is wrong, I didn't even say. But I know that there were people who were seeing it because they were writing articles and television programs and just talking, but they didn't change anything. And they think as long as they are seeing or noticing or talking about it, that they are solving it. You see, there are people like that. Okay, go ahead.
Their reasons for inaction, they thought it was none of their business. Number 2,
yes.
Others noticed both the light bulbs that were off and the chairs that were out of place. Their reasons for inaction, they thought it was none of their business. Sincerely so, none of them were employed to take care of such matters. The question I now had is...
It's true, sincerely so. They were never employed to do that job. So as if they have an alibi. That is the same alibi that people in Nigeria have. But I'm not a worker here. They didn't employ me to do it. But the people in my country say the politicians are the ones who are elected to do it. They're employed to do it. Now, let me go to the hard place. You all tell me if you have never been there before.
I have. Yeah. I have, especially if I come into the room and the chair was already there and other people were there. I would think that if I start to do it, I will stand out. That you saw this, everyone else they were there already. I would want to do it. I wouldn't be able to stand there. I would have to look away to survive the scenario of staying there. My natural self. But because other people would have been in that room already and not done anything about it, I would be very reluctant to do something. It's just because of that. But I would have to look away to be able to survive sitting there. That's the story of my life.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So, the question I now add is, do you need to be employed in order to fix what's wrong? Must you be employed before you can be proactive? Number 3, yet others noticed things that were out of place and thought to themselves that it could be the way, that is the way things are supposed to be.
Okay, that's another category of people. They actually saw these things, but they were thinking, maybe that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's true.
Maybe these are how things are supposed to be in this place. Do you know that?
Yes.
Yeah. This is how I think usually.
You? Well, must be stool in there. No, yes, that. No, publish come there. No, right.
And the funny thing about that is that sometimes people would then think differently and seems to be rebels.
Yeah.
So, but when you put it in context of church or congregation where this kind of seating arrangement are, you could get where the first place is pastors, the next page is reserve, and you can have an odd person who have a different mindset. Who just think
odd. You call it odd, eh?
Yeah, the person might be odd. For example, somebody
Maybe he's right.
Somebody might have a visual impediment that is not conspicuous to the ushers. And the person said, I'm going to this church for the first time. Let me sit in the first seat. Or let me sit at the second seat. Okay, I know the pastor sit there. Let me sit behind. And somebody said they can't sit there. And it becomes a banter. It becomes, because we are not flexible enough as a congregation, as a people, to understand that honor. Now, my son is 12 years old. What he picked out yesterday was when Pastor Sunday said a word. He said, Pastor Sunday spoke about a passing glory and a rising glory. That made sense to him, that a lot of the time, because of the structure that we have put in place, we are not aware that glory is a movement and that the presence of God is evolving. He said, day unto day uttereth speech. So the fact that we did it like that yesterday does not necessarily mean
it must be done
it must be done like that today. Such that if somebody now comes to break away from yesterday, we think the person is mad because we are not ready for tomorrow.
Okay. So, I'll start point 3. Yet others noticed things that were out of place and thought to themselves that is the way things are supposed to be. In other words, it could be that the rule of the house is that light bulbs are not meant to give light. And those 3 chairs were not arranged. And those 3 chairs that were not arranged may be adjustment to roam around the place, while others are well arranged.
Maybe a what?
Roam around, they're just meant to run around there.
They are meant to roam around, okay.
Point number 4. The 4 group of people noticed things that were out of order. Their reason was quite telling. They are the ones who tell themselves, well,
that's category number 4.
Yes.
They did what?
They are the ones who tell themselves, well, do I need to give myself any additional problems? They were quite sincere.
Beautiful. I didn't know people like that. Many. I don't need to give myself any additional problems. Okay.
They were quite sincere though. Nobody wants some extra troubles because in their thinking, if they speak out about the things that are out of place, they might be equally asked to be the ones to fix them. That, of course, attracts all forms of inconveniences with it. So the fear of discomfort, additional troubles, is stopping a huge amount of people in our world from bringing about positive changes. Charles Dole.
I think I should call this book "Why We Can't Make a Difference," or "Why We Can't Bring About Change," or "Why We Fail to Bring About."
This title is really very.
The title is already good.
Yeah, what makes for a man.
You think you like that?
Yeah.
It limits it to a man, but that word change.
Yes.
Why people don't make changes, or why people can't create a change, why change only happen through a few, or why many never invoke a change.
Yeah.
What makes for a change maker? Who is a change maker? Who changes things? Who can change things? Who has permission to change a nation? Who has things like that, that people say, who are the change makers? Are you a change maker? Can you change things? Can you change nations?
What makes for a change maker?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Okay, you want to say something?
No, yeah, for me it sounds quite, because I feel like this is something for ordinary people. It's not necessarily something for people.
Change makers.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you say change maker, I wouldn't feel like I wouldn't feel like this is something for me because I'm mediocre, so I don't want change.
I don't want to be a big change maker.
Exactly.
So wouldn't that
something that would catch my attention would be people don't change, because that's what I hear all the time, people. And so if it would say why people don't change, it will catch my attention more, because it's about the nature of people and it's not about the people who actually change things. I don't know if that makes sense.
The essence of the book itself is to be able to address mediocrity.
Yeah.
And mediocrity is embedded even in the most excellence of people, the highest of places. So you could get to anywhere in this world and still notice what Pastor Sunday noticed. So there is no small us and there is no big us.
Yes.
It is just life and chances and privileges that we have all been where we are. There is a topic you said, Liz, why people don't change, or why people don't change things. But it doesn't, I'm just trying to look at that none of us should look at ourselves as mediocre, even though people do. I don't think you are making a statement. But that is the whole essence of the article that I'm getting. That mediocrity is embedded in people. And they don't know. Such that I'm living in a house, but the floor is dirty. Yeah. I fight dirt every day in my office. When I walk in and I see something, and I say, but people are here. You guys are here.
And you didn't?
And you didn't notice. Am I crazy? Is something wrong with you? Are you all right? That, we had one of those big Xerox printer, big printer, and we had replaced it. This one had a fault, and it's been somewhere there in my office for like 3-4 months. One day I got so angry. Is everybody okay in this office? Do I have to be the only person thinking? I've said this thing once, twice, what have you? Why is this thing still back there?
Be needed everywhere. Then.
Everywhere. Everybody needs it. So it can be as little as dirt on the floor.
But what is the title that you will propose?
From what she's saying is that why people don't change, but not just don't change. Why people don't change things.
Why problem
Why problem with things.
I'd still advocate for this title for the sake that, like,
because I'm still going to talk about man.
Yes, about man.
So this was the end.
Yes.
Okay, then let's keep on reading.
When you mean man, is that in terms of gender?
No, not in terms of gender, in terms of
humanity.
Then that title, man, already segregated. And when a woman sees it, it
will take it up.
No,
it will take explanation. It takes explanation for people to know that they are included in man.
Secular people.
Or for a personality then or something.
Personality is rather.
I'm thinking of secular people because I'm around them all the time. They want neutrality. They want everyone to be included.
Okay.
Queen McDonald. How are you today? Please go there and sit down.
Let me tell you, Pastor Sonny, what her husband said to me. I already told her.
Long time?
No, 2 days ago. When I was on I still spoke to him this morning. He said, Pastor Sunday will have to pay me back half of my diary that I paid.
Yeah, because the wife is now here with me.
Exactly. He said, because she's been there for so long. He said, he has to pay back half of my diary.
The wife is now with me.
I told him, after how many years you have overused your dowry.
30 years.
After 30 years.
Yes.
Charles Dolin said, I don't want to live in the kind of world where we don't look out for each other. Not just the people that are close to us. But
no, but we didn't get fourth category. Say it again.
Let me take it again. Point 4. The fourth group of people noticed things that were out of order. Their reason was quite...
But there are people who notice that things are out of order, Pastor. But what is their reason?
They are the ones who tell themselves, well, do I need to give myself any additional problems?
Is that not Nigeria for you? Huh?
Typical. Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's us. It's all of us.
They were quite sincere though. Nobody wants some extra troubles because in their thinking, if they speak out about the
that's what people are telling me here. Why do you need all this? Why are you putting yourself in trouble? Why are you putting yourself in trouble?
Pastor Sunday, can I just say this? I learned this from Pastor Sunday. I used to be so insular to political scene, to things that are happening around, and I came to Pastor Sunday and he was addressing national issue, get it. So when I begin to notice things like that, I react to it. For example, there's a current situation that is going on between Dino Melaye and what have you. Learning from him, I took it upon myself to write Sahara Reporters. I sent a letter to them directly for the record. Now, I wanted to send a letter to Dino Melaye himself because I was going to do a program on my Disney in Nigeria to address it publicly, but I realized that it would not be as effective as going directly to the two individuals that are involved. They may never reply me. They don't have to reply me. But I am sure that what I've said to Sahara Report is very important, and they will at least see something in it because I've now learned that I don't write with emotion. I showed you what the letter I wrote to Hillary Clinton, and I wish she has followed those advices. From Pastor Sunday, I now learned to give my points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Rather than what our people do. If you check our newspapers and our articles, our people just put down their
emotion. So that's what I wrote to Sahara Report. Now, after leaving here, I'll prepare another letter to Senator Dino Melaye. And I may not even stop at that. I will write the Nigerian Senate on the issue. I mean, I will send it directly to Bukola Saraki to his secretary. That way, we are not just emotionally responding to things, but we are doing something about creating a necessary change and solution, you know.
So, but these ones I say, I don't want, why should you put another problem on your head? Go ahead.
So this 4 group, they are the ones who tell themselves, well, do I need to give myself any additional problems? They were quite sincere though. Nobody wants some extra troubles because in their thinking, if they speak out about the things that are out of place, they might be equally asked to be the ones to fix them. That, of course, attracts all forms of inconveniences with it. So the fear of discomfort, additional troubles, is stopping a huge amount of people in our world from bringing about positive changes.
Who revolutionize our world, change people's mindset. I think I should write the book.
Yes.
Okay.
Charles Darwin said, I don't want to live in the kind of world where we don't look out for each other. Not just the people that are close to us, but anybody who needs a helping hand. I can't change the way anybody else thinks or what they choose to do, but I can do my bit. All the troubles of our world are in this 4 points.
That is supposed to be the right attitude. Even though I might not be able to change everybody or everything, but at least I can do my bit.
All the troubles of our world are in these 4 points listed above. Indifference.
Do you agree?
Yes.
All the troubles of our world are connected to one of those 4 things. How people respond to life. Okay?
All the troubles of our world are in these 4 points listed above. Indifference, complacency, apathy, disinterest, nonchalance, and so on, are ruining our world. Let's examine more closely. The first item that was listed in the points above. Number 1, we did not notice. The first category seen above is the category of people that do not notice things that are out of order in their environment. For example, the first time I went back to my home country, Nigeria, after staying for 3 years in Europe, it led to an experience of shock and depression. That feeling of disillusionment was likely caused by our metropolitan pride city of Lagos. Before I ever traveled overseas, Lagos has seemed to me to be a modern metropolitan city of great admiration. Now, as I write this, I cannot help but exclaim it to myself, a phrase in my native language of Yoruba, Omoko, meaning bush boy. My shock and depression came as a result of the realization that I and millions of my countrymen were hugely deceived into thinking Lagos was a city at all.
What he's saying? Lagos is not a city. Lagos is not a city.
You think it's this? Omoko now. What do you expect? I cannot expect anything else from you now. I've already categorized us that where you belong. It means that you are by category of Omoko.
My shock and depression came as a result of the realization that I and millions of my countrymen were hugely deceived into thinking Lagos was a city at all, talk less of talking about it as a modern metropolitan city. I must say though, that I'm not talking about the Lagos of today, I'm talking about the Lagos of about 30 years ago, the years of Babangida Abacha regimes. Even before my plane landed, the view of the city was already quite disheartening. The brown sun-scorched roofs of the houses, the littering buildings and construction all over the place. The lack of
city has to be planned. But that place is just the opposite of it's not planned, it's not arranged, it's just chaotic. It's the opposite of any arrangement. And it's not an informed planning or informed arrangement.
The lack of planning, lack of structure, and lack of system runs contrary to everything obtainable in Europe. On getting out of the airport though, and for the next 5 weeks of my stay in Nigeria, I got yet another shock. This time, the shock was the fact that people living within Nigeria, especially those who have not traveled abroad, don't see anything wrong with the way the system and the city run, including the government officials who are supposed to fix those problems. Worse still, even those who complain my beloved country, those who could easily be termed as professional complainers, though complaining, yet they will not be able to tell you exactly what is wrong with the system. All these people belong to this our first group we're examining in this article. They belong to the group of those who don't notice what is out of order and what needs to be fixed. Jacqueline Novogratz said, our actions and inaction touch people we may never know and never meet across the globe. A close example to everyone.
Either we do something or it touches people we know or don't know. When we don't do anything now, you are still touching people with evil. Either you know them or you don't know them. So your action and inaction are both destroying or building. So when you don't do anything, when you don't respond to situations, you are destroying people. When you respond, you are building people. So your action and inaction, all of them are doing something. Killing or reviving.
Right. The book and the concept of to change or not to change. What is the question?
Okay, to change.
Question. Or to act or not to act. That is
to act or not to act. Okay.
A closer example to every one of my readers will be a situation I often see all around me, both in Africa and Europe. Dear reader, have you ever seen a situation where someone walks into the room where you are sitting, and out of the people seated there, nobody seems to bother to offer him a seat, either because they expect him to find a seat for himself, or they refuse to make a seat more comfortable for the newcomer. Whatever the reason may be, they refused to act. We often see this on regular basis. To act, yes. We often see this on regular basis. In fact, maybe we ourselves have often failed to react constructively in similar situations. What makes men not to notice other men's plight? What makes people not to see the needs of others? What is it that is responsible for the blindness to the seemingly obvious? There is indeed a reason for such responses or lack of responses. When you don't notice the obvious, when you fail to even realize there are things out of order around you, then it is not just bad, that is catastrophic. The reason though for such blindness...
Can you imagine how rich the book will be? When we come with concrete information, statistics. Go ahead.
The reason though for such blindness is often subtle, muted, and subdued in our very person, that we will not readily admit to ourselves that we have a problem.
Because we don't see it as a problem. Only I didn't say it. Oh, I don't care. People just, I don't care. But they don't know it's a problem.
Yes.
Because when you don't care, your action or lack of action, is affecting somebody. It's killing or reviving. It's either giving life or it's depriving life. And you say, I don't care. What's the problem? I didn't do anything now. What did I do? I didn't do anything. No. What did I do? Just because I came to this room, or just because he came, I didn't say anything. What did I do? You will make you to be the one at fault. I'm the one going to be guilty. That I'm pointing this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you don't notice issues, challenges, disorderliness, and chaos around you, or you are indifferent to them, that could only mean one thing. You have been blinded by your needs. It is only selfishness.
He got it. Now he caught that one.
Now,
He caught it.
that is extremely powerful.
When you don't notice needs and you don't know these situations, it means you have been consumed and blinded by your own personal egocentrism or needs.
This is very powerful, particularly for those who... I'm in a situation where in the last few years, I've started a lot of things and I'm staffing, I have people. And this is the key thing I realized, that people feel in time where they are. And a lot of the time, people do not contribute to pushing things forward because they don't know that they are consumed with their own life, with their own thought.
But they want to get salary.
But they want to make advancement. They want to be paid. They want to get salary. Now, this is even worse in church where people are volunteers. There's no salary involved. And we think that presence equals productivity. You may be present and you are around. You may be living here, but you might actually not be generating what is moving the thing forward. Because attendance is not equal to productivity. You may be here, but you are thinking, oh, how do I resolve this issue? Oh, I'm working with Pastor Grace. How do I solve out my problem, my visa problem? How do I? Okay. And that thought actually inundates you so much that you are not as productive to make impact on why you are in the place. Whereas those who move things forward will eventually find themselves in the place of forward. Because if the things move forward, you cannot be left behind. And that is, I think that is a major problem, that we are all consumed by our own life, but we should all build that character through passion, where we can be so passionately sold out into what we are doing to the degree that we make a contribution so much that is undeniable.
Yes.
It is.
When we do that, that contribution will eventually take care of our needs.
Yeah, I was going to use that as an example again of someone here is a witness. I was working in a place, and she's aware. I was brought in as a keyboardist. That was my role, right? I was supposed to be a keyboardist. But I realized that there is a place of a music director that was missing. So I said, don't worry about title. I will don't call me title, if I'm correct, but I will do this job of a music director. She was our choir leader at the time. She said, you be boss over me, control me in case I'm going out of order. But this particular order, but then later we realized that, okay, the church has to start an office. So I was in the church office. And then at some point, the church would need to drive the van. I was the driver for the van. And at some point, again, I was the house fellowship leader. And I was many things. But there were certain things that I was not productive at. So one day, Jimmy and the pastor were to do an appraisal because they were having issue with, I write well, but I miss spelling. So they actually sat down and did an appraisal and finished and said, no, it's not you something is wrong with, it is us. Because we realized that only you are doing almost 8-9 things. You are the one to drive to go here. You are the one to drive to. And I actually said to myself, I had forgotten that a lot of the time in my life, I had forgotten that I even have my own personal problem. Because I sold myself completely out into the organization that I am. Now, I am busy. I have businesses. Pastor Sunday knows. But when I met Pastor Sunday, I left that so much that I spent a bulk of my time making sure that what Pastor Sunday wants me to do, I am doing. Calling him back, he's calling me, and you would think I'm jobless. But at some point, I'm just saying this with every sense of humility, I had to pay somebody a salary to be doing something that I need to deliver to Pastor Sunday here in Ukraine. Somebody that is not connected to him. But Pastor Sunday then told me something. He said, you are exceptional. You are... and I couldn't understand it. And I realized that most people will come to him because they want to get from him. Some people will live with him because they need an accommodation. But some people will be around him looking, what can I add to him? And it is those who add to organization, like he has done to Ukraine.